We're all too familiar with meeting disappointment after hours of searching and watching the same old movies over. If you're in a mood for a thriller and you can't find a good one, then look no further, because we got the perfect movie for you. The 2020 film Run on Netflix. It seems like no one wants to make an awesome psychological thriller anymore, right? Wrong. Here's a few great things about Run that are going to change your mind. Starting off with a clear but engaging plot. The very first thing you're going to notice about this movie is how the plot doesn't rely upon any extensive exposition or laborious world building. In this amazing story of a physically challenged teenage girl Chloe and her caregiver mother Diane, the viewer gets a slight idea of where things might be going right off the bat. Now, we know what you're thinking. How is it a good thing if the audience can see how the movie might progress? Allow us to explain, ladies and gents, why this is the very reason we think the movie is so unique and how it's written. The plot pans out very organically, which is very refreshing to see in a movie of such nature, which helps the movie's purpose so effectively, and it's really unbelievable. You don't feel like an outsider watching it because you figure things out at the same pace as the characters. Just as Chloe starts doubting her mother and finding inconsistencies in her behavior, what are you? The director and co-writer Aneesh Chaganty has done a brilliant job of giving the audience just the right amount of information at the right time while trusting the audience's intelligence and not making it feel like a spoon feeding. So yeah, if you're looking for a movie that hooks you immediately without trying too hard, this is the movie for you. Next up, the casting was done right. We know we can't be the only ones who think that one of the main aspects of what makes a movie a hit or a miss is the cast. And we can say this with confidence that this movie's cast is definitely on point. Our lead characters are Diane Sherman and Chloe Sherman, played by Sarah Paulson and Kiera Allen. It's no secret how awesome Sarah Paulson is, but we'll get back to her in a minute. First, let's just talk about Kiera, who you'll love just as much as we loved. She's a wheelchair user in real life as well, so this is great in two ways. First, obviously being the sheer joy of witnessing representation done right, and second is the service it does to the authenticity of the movie. And Sarah Paulson is, well, Sarah Paulson. She's just too good at playing an absolute menace of a character, and she shares the screen so beautifully with Kiera. If you're anything like us, the cast alone is going to be enough to convince you how great this movie actually is. All of the scares, none of the jumps. One of the most remarkable aspects of this movie is that it has absolutely no jump scares. So many horror or mystery thriller movies have an absurd amount of those, and you're left thinking, well, that sure wasn't fair. No one minds a good jump scare sometimes, but a film loses credibility and can become exhausting when that's the only tool that it has. The filmmakers of Run know exactly this. Don't worry though, the movie's gonna creep the absolute daylight out of you, and it's got a few really good scares, but it's all done very tastefully with well-crafted scenes and impeccable performances, without any jumpy music or needless extravagance. Now, we have some smart characters. If you've seen a lot of thrillers in your day, like we have, you know that a film wants you to feel for a character like they're in danger, but it can be just so hard to do because the character just keeps making the most mind-numbingly stupid decisions ever. Run spares us of that struggle. It's clear from the start that the characters know exactly what they're supposed to do. It's so rare to see a character be smart and observant in these movies. It really catches your attention. For instance, Diane's subtle but disturbing ways of trying to control Chloe's life don't go unnoticed by Chloe. And when she sees that Diane is dangerous, you can actually see that she's actually trying her best to escape from her. Or should we say, run from her. Even the side characters take logical steps and do the right thing at the right time instead of just ignoring or straight up gaslighting the victim for plot convenience, which at least to us is very surprising to see in a thriller. Up next, the themes of abuse. We all know that most psychological thrillers have themes of mental health and personality disorders, but it's important to note that having a personality disorder doesn't make a person bad or evil. This is why we find it exceptional that there's no name of a disorder mentioned when it comes to Diane, preventing the dangerous stereotypes that can form about people with mental illnesses. What we appreciate about the way this movie deals with this issue is that there's no blurry lines. There's an abuser and a victim of abuse. The audience knows it, the people in the movie know it, so an overwhelming number of people that are disabled face some kind of abuse in their life. And it's very likely for the abuser to be someone close to them, someone they know. So while the nature of abuse depicted in the movie might be vastly different from what people might experience, the representation of disabled suffering, mistreatment, and abuse in the guise of care or help is so very important. Oh, and how can we miss how crucial it is to believe someone when they say they feel unsafe and help them when they ask for help? No matter how much someone else might oppose it, the film makes a point of showcasing this, dealing with the abuser mentality. Another clear win for the filmmakers is how masterfully they can manage to craft the character of Diane as an abuser. You can almost feel the carefulness with which they tell the audience that, according to her reason for being cruel to Chloe is her feelings as a mother who's seen the loss of a child. But here's what's truly remarkable though. The film doesn't try to make you feel sorry for her. In fact, fact, it clearly shows how wrong she is. This is such a key element because you get to see a manipulator and how she can convince his or herself that the intentions behind their actions are nothing but pure. A beautiful wrap-up. Okay, folks, the ending of a horror or thriller is probably the most controversial thing to have an opinion about because a lot of people disagree on how something should have ended. But believe us when we say that we're sure about our judgment of Run's ending. In fact, we'll go as far as to say that the ending might just be the best part of the film because it's just so satisfying. First of all, the film doesn't take that long to wrap up, so the suspense is always there from the beginning to the end. But when it does wrap up, it does so with so much clarity, it doesn't leave any questions unanswered. It also doesn't make anyone suffer more than they needed to, and it doesn't force any relationships when there wasn't any room for them. So yeah, without any context, we'd just like to say that revenge is a dish best served cold. Next, there are no graphic scenes. Besides everything else, one thing that really stands out about this film is that there isn't a single graphic or explicit scene in this movie. Not one. You can definitely watch this one with your friends and family without having to worry about any awkward situations. Also, the lack of violent scenes, no swearing, no depiction of blood or murder, makes it perfect to watch for somebody who has any triggers regarding such things. Also, if you want to get scared, but you don't want to get grossed out by bodily fluids or triggered by bloodbaths, then hey, this movie's for you. And finally, Stephen King approves. Yeah, you heard that right. The King himself has spoken. Stephen King tweeted about this movie saying, "No extraneous bullshit, just nerve-splintering terror." To which Sarah Paulson replied, "This is really something. Can you frame a tweet?" Stephen King's books and the movies based on them are actually the horror standard. So when the writer of The Shining and the creator of Pennywise call something a nerve-splintering terror, oh, you know the film did just what it was supposed to do. No questions asked. Oh, and keep in mind, all you Stephen King fans out there, that there is a very exciting Easter egg in the movie. When Chloe uses the only working phone in the house to call and find out about her medications, she's asked if her location is Derry, Maine. If you know your Stephen King well enough, then you should know it well enough to send shivers down your spine at that one. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you agree with our opinions on the movie? Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.